You're listening to the Black Eagles podcast with Sinan Schwarting and Kaan Bayazit.
Ahmet Dursun Sergen aldı. Sergen Bülent yan yana. Sergen Bülent. Sergen. Yanında Tümer var. Tümer'e doğru aksiyon kaybetti. Tümer topu aldı. Sergen aldı. Gol! Gol! Gol! Sergen attı. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi. Sergen attı. Şampiyonluk geldi.
İbrahim'in pası. Yuma. Şimdi Ahmet. İkinci gole gidiyor Beşiktaş. Ahmet. Ve
Folks, welcome back. Episode 30, the big 3-0 coming at you. And it's a good one. It's a big one, this episode. I think the occasion matches the sort of marker, the numerical marker of 30 that we've reached here, I guess, you know. But yeah, big news. We're coming off a big victory here, and we're coming into a big derby match. But before we get into it, let me introduce myself. I am Sinan Schwarting, coming in live from New York City. And my co-host is Kaan Bayazit, who's back. Kaan, what do you have to say?
Hello, beautiful people. Did you miss me? I'm actually celebrating my big 3-0 next month, so...
Oh, wow.
You know, this is a little bit early. We should have postponed it until the 29th of October. You can send your gifts at P.O. Box.
That's great.
I'm kidding,
That's funny.
I'm kidding.
Actually, that's interesting. My wife's birthday is October 24th. My daughter's birthday is October 27th. You're October 29th. That's a loaded month.
Yeah, for
Halloween is then what, like 2 days later as well. So it's busy season.
Yeah, I just got a little invader here, my son, who just walks in the room.
Nice.
His birthday is May 19th, so both me and him are born on Turkish holidays.
That's funny.
I forget which ones they are, but yeah. Let's get into the game, man.
Let's do it. Yeah. So why don't you, Kaan? Why don't you run us through the details, like the main events of the match, before we go into analysis?
So Beşiktaş opened their group stage campaign in the Europa League on match day 1 on Group I against Sarpsborg from Norway, the team that was drawn from pot 4. Prior to the game, everyone expected a big win from Beşiktaş here. And Beşiktaş did not really disappoint, although the first half ended in a 0-0 draw. Not much to say about that, apart from that I think we didn't play too well, but Adem Ljajic was, for me, the one bright spot in that first half. Then, just after the break, we opened the scoreline. Ryan Babel, who had come on at halftime for Gökhan Töre, who had started the match, scores in the 51st minute, assist from Kyle Larin, very simple pass from him really, and Babel made the goal himself, I should say. Very nicely lofted shot, and 1-0 after 51 minutes. Then a few minutes later, we made it 2-0 on a free kick. It was from both Caner Erkin and Adem Ljajic lined up for the free kick in the 69th minute, and it was Ljajic who beautifully crossed it in, and Enzo Rocco, who also started in this game, making his first start for the club, I think. Or wasn't it his first start?
No, it was his first start since the sort of debacle.
Yeah, right.
If you will.
So he gets his first goal for Beşiktaş. Very good header, but a very good cross from Ljajic, who caps off his second game for the Black Eagles with an assist. And then Beşiktaş went for 3, got their third goal through Jermaine Lens in the 82nd minute, assist there coming from Oğuzhan Özyakup. And then in the dying seconds, literally the final touch of the game, Sarpsborg pull one back. Zakariasen scores on a corner. Not sure what went wrong there. It was an easy tap in, I think, in the end. I kind of feel sorry for Loris Karius, who I feel has played 3 really good games already for Beşiktaş, and he just can't keep a clean sheet for the moment. Always conceding these sorts of goals where he can't really do anything about it. So 3-1 full time. or should I say the full-time scoreline reads Beşiktaş 3, Sarpsborg 1, and Beşiktaş get off on a winning. Get off with a win in their group opener. Racing Genk also beat Malmö in their group opener at the Luminous Arena 2-0. So both Beşiktaş and Genk at the top of the table with 3 points. Beşiktaş in first due to the fact that they scored more goals. Both have a +2 goal differential. So I think the favorites ahead of the group stages were, they're already making true on that favorite role. And a big win for Genk, I should say, against Malmö, who you would expect would be the biggest competitor to challenge Beşiktaş and Genk for one of those two spots. Good start to the group stages. Can't say much more than that.
Yeah, I'm apt to agree here. Yeah, no, I think it was absolutely a great match, and I think again, there's this like fabled, the Turkish halftime speech, that I think it's been mocked even in sketch comedies in Turkey. I've seen sort of funny little skits and stuff. Something happened there in that halftime speech, or maybe even just he shifted something tactically. Perhaps there was something more than just talk. But definitely, Babel came in and he made an immediate impact, obviously. But clearly, the whole team came out with a different attitude and looked like a totally different team, a much better team. And yeah, the second half, you got a lot of fun little glimpses at players and guys who you think have potential, who maybe flashed it in some instances. Finally, so there was a lot to go with in that second half. The first half, though, and I think you can't just skip it. You can't pass by it too easily. It was a mess. It was a train wreck. It was a complete disaster, and it wasn't the first time we've seen that at all. So something needs to be resolved in that regard. I don't know if that's, once, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? Like the coach at some point it has to go up to the coach's table, right? You have to put that on him, and he has to be the one who's trying to come up with a resolution for why it is that we keep coming out so. What's a good adjective for it, Kaan? Like, how would you describe those first half performances we've been seeing?
I don't really know how to. Yeah, lackluster perhaps. I don't know really the perfect word to describe it. I'm not as harsh on it as you are today. I don't, because I think you said that this was probably our worst half of the season, and I definitely think that against Erzurum, against Linz, we were a lot worse.
No, but for me it's relative. I want to quantify that by saying, that of course perhaps we were worse all around in those performances, but like given where we are in the season, given the fact that we're now 11, 12 matches in, competitive matches, that is,
you'd expect us to be further ahead.
Much, and if anything, we're taking steps back.
Yeah, but
again.
So many things are changing. We're 11 to 12 matches in, but we only just filled up that really essential role of the number 10 with Adam Laic, who I loved him today. To me, he was the man of the match. And I don't want to make up excuses because I don't think there should be excuses, because it is the responsibility of the club and the transfer committee and all that, but. We were basically starting to form our attack more around Alvaro Negredo, and now he's off.
Sure.
So we had to go back to Laren. We only just filled in that number 10 role with Laic, and I don't feel like we have a set 11 yet.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we're 11 to 12 games into the season already, and I think that's a problem. I think that the performances against Erzurum, especially in the first half, was absolutely horrible. I think that was our worst performance in years and a half. And you know what? Against Linz was terrible too. But we've had to say this so often already. I had the feeling this year it's a recurring topic really. We're just not playing very well right now, and we saw it in the first half. Fortunately, in the second half, we played better. I think Ryan Babel is just is important to this team right now. He's one of the few guys that you can rely on goals for. And I think he's gotten 3 goals in his last 3 appearances, whether he's playing really well or not. He's just so important. But yeah, let's get into the bright spots. And you know what? I'm gonna let you go first.
My thoughts on this match are, first of all, I think I want to go back to a point you'd made a few episodes ago regarding Negredo, which was that, when we weren't playing him and he was still probably clearly the best of our strikers, we sort of agreed that he still shouldn't be out there for exactly this reason, which is that, you're getting a guy fit and in form who's probably not going to be on the team, whereas you're not getting guys who are going to remain on the team and who are going to be playing up front in form. And I think to Laren's defense today, and he was pretty poor, barring a nice assist.
It wasn't even a nice assist. It was a poor pass.
But the control, the general flow of the play, he didn't even need to put on a nice pass because of what he did elsewhere.
He should have put that in front of Babel, and Babel had to wait for that pass to come. That was a poor pass. Babel just made a good goal out of it.
Control, again, the control and bringing it down, that's kind of something he's shown the ability to do. Anyway, the point being that, he hasn't really been playing for now 3 or 4 matches because we're like, okay, Negredo's our guy, we're going to put him out there. So the sale of Negredo, the sudden sale of his, certainly is not helping Laren settle into the squad if he is our main striker going forward. That was clearly an issue, especially in that first half where we kind of needed a spark up front, where our opportunities were sparing.
Yeah. I don't think he's capable of playing that quick, because you saw what Lige wants to do. He wants to create quick triangles with players and bring you know what I mean. Like, he wants to play triangles, so basically 3 players to unravel the opponent and just I describe it as if he has cement boots. Kyle Laren, his touches are so bad, his passes are so bad. Well,
I mean, remember, this was literally his first competitive match with Liajic in the squad.
Yeah, but I've seen that every game. He can't do this. He can't do that type of football. That's not him. He does not have that technical ability. He doesn't have that first touch. He doesn't have that ability to keep the overview and give that quick touch. The one touch passing. That's not something he can do. It's just not in him.
There was maybe in the second half when everyone was kind of in flow. He did have a nice little 1-2 with Liajic where Liajic set him up. I mean, of course, Liajic was doing most of the work in terms of setting players up throughout the match. He was pretty phenomenal. Yeah. But he did. But
what types of 1-2s is he playing?
He did put Laren on, and then Laren took a shot that was over the bar. He put too much on it. But to me, it showed.
But you need to look at what
I actually think what Laren has needed thus far is someone who can put the ball to him on the ground, where he can put it away in those sort of scenarios. And so in that setting, I think if Liajic and Laren can form a nice little pairing in that regard,
but then you're not playing triangles, Sinan. That's not playing triangles, and you're just playing. What he's doing basically with his back to the goal, and he's getting the ball and he's giving it back or whatever. He's looking where he's going to play it. But with the problem with Laren is that he doesn't know where where Babel is running, where Lens is running. He doesn't have that ability to give a blind touch and in part, of course, that is getting used to your teammates. But if you look at Lige, for example, he's been with the team 10 days or something.
Well, that's sort of apples and oranges, right?
Yeah,
because he's the man who's going to be in that sort of he's going to be that linchpin, right?
But you have to have a striker if you're going to want to play that type of football who has that awareness. And remember a while back when I said when a cross is coming in to the box and Laren he's going for it, but you can just see that he doesn't have the conviction. He's not going to get there. He doesn't have that offensive awareness. I feel like when I just think that when teams are marking tightly like this, and you're often going to have that most of the time, I think he's just not very useful. He doesn't weigh enough on the defense, in my opinion. I don't think it's ever going to come unless you send him out on loan and he gets valuable experience. He's not going to get there. I think the pressure on him is too high. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself. It's affecting him. I think if you compare it to the way he played in those couple of games last season, and at the end of the season, he was a different player. I think he's allowing this pressure early on in the season where it was kind of clear that, look, Negredo is leaving, we're going to bring in someone else, but it's going to be up to you now. Here's your chance, convince the coach. Then that didn't happen. Then Negredo came back into the team, and it looked like Negredo was staying. I think Sinan Güneş and everyone, Sinan Güneş and everyone's mother was expecting that Negredo wasn't going to go anywhere anymore after the transfer window closed, and then
still makes no sense.
Yeah.
Whatever. I still haven't been able to formulate a proper opinion on that. I just don't understand it. But yeah, I actually don't disagree with anything you've said regarding his ability or performance or any of that. The only thing I differ with you on is I think it's like a flip needs to be switched, and I do think it's not going to be a goal that does it.
Yeah.
But it could be like, a sustained like 2 or 3 matches where he scores maybe in 2 of them and is sort of vibrant, active in the attack throughout those matches. I think if I still believe that he has the capacity to settle in should he be given the sort of not just the confidence, because you have to sort of do something to gain that confidence, but if the team is flowing like it has been in these second halves, but more consistently throughout matches, and we can start to put together some nice results even, I could see him fitting in there. But the problem is that in order to reach that mode where we're clicking at that level, I think we probably need someone who's consistently putting goals away just to reach there. And so we're at a sort of point, I don't know, we're at an awkward phase. I think we're really honestly down a striker, Like,
yeah, I mean, I think he
talk about missing puzzle
pieces.
Pieces,
He had 2
right,
good opportunities. In the first half, he had a sitter. I think he missed from like 1 or 2 meters out. That was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it was a hard cross, but all you really have to do is just hit it a little bit, and that should be a goal. But he manages to put it wide. And then in the second half, there was another opportunity. I think again the cross wasn't perfect, but I think a striker needs to put those types of balls away. If that's Ozan getting in those positions and he misses them, okay, But remember a couple weeks ago when Ozan got booed by our own fans because he missed 2 great opportunities. I mean, to me, the chances that Laren missed today, those 2 chances, those are bigger.
No,
those are bigger misses than Ozan's misses.
I don't think so.
For sure.
Because those the tap in was actually him even getting to that ball was not particularly easy, and then that shot from distance, like Ozan really had like actual sitters, but again, it wasn't his position, Yeah, and but it's positionally that's not really what he's supposed to be doing anyway. So
these are the types of things that the striker are there for, to tap
perhaps,
those
and that could be the argument. I mean, that was a tough one, the tap in. To be fair, like he really didn't have a lot of service up front. That was like,
That's why he has to take these chances. These are the ones that you have to finish. That's what I mean, you're not going to get 5-6 chances every game. You're not playing against semi-professionals from the Faroe Islands every game. But
like to say, for example, to single us out as playing with 10 men because we didn't have a striker, like I think you could just as easily single us out as having 10 or then even perhaps 9 men, because Gökhan Töre was like he was bad for the team for the time he was out there in that first half, just as much. And in fact, as far as having an impact on the match, because Laren's sort of setting up there waiting for the opportunity, Gökhan Töre was mixing it up and really like negatively contributing, giving the ball away, falling over instead of fighting
but he was
for
taking
it.
risks. He was showing
I
some.
don't- I don't-
Yeah, he was. He was showing
know.
balls. He was showing guts. He was taking risks. He wasn't afraid to make mistakes. Lauren just played everything simple. And, it's kind of what he has to do. He's not got that ability to do fancy stuff, so that's fine. But then you have to do those things, keeping it simple, and you have to do those things well. He didn't do that. I think Gökhan Töre is taking a lot more risks. He lost the ball a few times. He had that nice little rush and dribble, and then the true ball on Lauren that was too hard, but that could have easily been a goal if that pass would have been a little bit better. So I wouldn't be so harsh on Gökhan. I think he contrary to Lauren, who's played over 600 minutes already. This is he's played nearly 700 minutes now. Töre still really has to get back into the groove. I do think that as soon as Babel came on, we saw a change. But I think all in all, I think just the fact that Adam Laic was the man here. I think
I've noticed he and Laic and Babel actually seem to have a nice little rapport as well. After the goal, they kind of, he was celebrating Babel's goal very loudly and excitedly. Babel has a tendency actually to sort of get along with our foreign players, our incoming foreign players. I've noticed.
Yeah, I think he is very welcoming, and he's definitely not an introvert. He's a very extrovert personality. I think it's good to have that type of person in your team. And it's also one of the reasons that I'm really so upset, really, that our fans have been giving Babel so much shit. I think that those types of personalities are really good to have in your team. And as I speak, I think Fenerbahce just scored, so that's good. Against.
Oh, I'm behind actually. I'm seeing it
against Dinamo Zagreb. But yeah, back on topic. Sorry for that, because we're of course recording this while the late
really
match
post-match
in the Europa League is being played, and Fenerbahce were 2-0 down at halftime, and they just made it 2-1. Really straight after the second half kickoff, so it's good for Turkish coefficients. But back on topic. I think Babel, he's just important for this team right now. There's no denying that. And we've still got, 3.5 months to go until the January transfer window, or even longer. So we're going to have to make do with what we've got right now. And Ryan Babel is going to be a main source of goals, I think. So
yeah, I do agree with you that Kyle Larin is not up to it right now. And at the very least, I personally want to see Babel tried up front.
But the thing with Larin is, for me, he doesn't have to be scoring goals, left, right, and center. But he has to do, like I said, those simple things. He has to do those well. His assist to Babel, to me, that's just really Babel still turning a poor pass into a good, into something good. But he's not going to be able to do that against every defense, Sarpsborg aren't Torshavn. They're far more decent. If you look at their parkour towards the Europa League group stages, they eliminated Rijeka, they eliminated Maccabi Tel Aviv, who, those aren't small teams in Europa League terms. So they, I definitely wouldn't describe them as Vardar last year, or even Östersund. I think that actually Östersund was pretty good, but I think this Sarpsborg team is better than people give them credit for. I think they showed a lot of resilience in that first half against us. So I definitely wouldn't sell them short, but at the end of the day, it's a team you have to beat. I think Kyle Larin has to be doing better against these types of defenses. Has to weigh more on them. But I don't want to shit all over him. I just didn't. I'm just not a fan right now.
No, he's definitely not playing particularly well. I don't want to give that impression at all. Again, the only sort of counter argument I've had is that I think he could probably turn it around, because we've seen better of him, and not just once, for a few matches last season we saw a sustained good performance, and so I'm just more hopeful of the possibility of him turning on the switch. I don't know what it takes. I really don't. And again, I don't think it's just a matter of a goal. I think it has to be I think like you've said, I agree. I think it is a confidence thing. I think it is a mental thing, and those sort of things don't necessarily get resolved
But you know what the
in a
biggest
flash.
thing that I dislike when I'm watching him, the fact that, how we say when a striker, at least he's getting into positions. And yeah, today he got into 2 positions, but so often when crosses
No,
are
he
coming
didn't.
in, when passes are coming in, I just have the feeling that he's always late. That's I have a feeling he has a timing issue, an anticipation issue, and that's something that worries me. If he was getting into those goal scoring positions every game and weighing on that defense and causing problems for them, I wouldn't be so down on him. But too often I feel like he's not really giving the defense a run for their money. He doesn't need to score every game. He doesn't need to score every 2 or 3 games, as long as he weighs on the defense, creates space for other players, and all that kind of stuff. But
Well, I'll tell you what, that sounds like a job for Ilhan Mansız. He's the man who could teach him a few lessons about timing his runs. But let's focus this in then. So let's move on to the highlights and lowlights. Who's your highlight? I think I have a feeling I know who you're gonna pick, but
I'm not going to pick the obvious one because I'm going to leave that one for you. For me, Loris Karius.
I'd already come up with a wild card option. That's a good one though, for sure.
He didn't have all that much to do, but when he was needed, he was there, and he had another.
He deserves it for the last 2 performances, even, right? He's just he's playing that role now.
He's had this, he had that save against Bursaspor, the amazing one-on-one save, and he had it again today, a really, really good one-on-one save against Rashid Mohammed, who, shout out to Ben Wells of Football Radar. He gave us some insights on Sarpsborg, and I think, his insights on Rashid Mohammed were perfect.
Yeah,
He caused trouble, and that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying I want an attacker to weigh on a defense. He weighed on our defense the entire match just due to his speed and his physicality. You could see technically he wasn't the best player, and he did say as well, Ben did, that he could be wasteful at times and stuff like that. Although I do think he did quite well there with his shot, but just a really good save from Karius with his foot. Great reflex save. And that's not the first time that Karius has shown in just a limited amount of games now. I think this was like his 3rd game. I think he's shown that ability to really come up big on the one-on-one, and
I never got your take on this, but after during the Yeni Malatya match, did you see before the half that stopped?
I was like, you
were on semi-vacation then.
I was semi-intoxicated watching it in a crowded bar on my phone. It was very
nice.
It was very difficult. I was being totally antisocial. My friends were like, "Are you watching football again?"
Oh god.
So I was just standing there, like, "Yeah, leave me alone, man."
Yes, I am.
I just need to watch this game. Leave me alone. And then long story. It was a great. It was a great fun. Shout out to Marcus and Chris,
if they're listening.
who we met over there in Köln. 2 local German guys. They were great. They showed us around a little bit. I was able to watch the game, but not to the extent that I could really give you any hot takes on the game.
Well, so no, he did. He had a brilliant save right before the half. It was like a kind of bad half all around, and then one of those scenarios where it's like, oh my god, this is about to get 10 times worse suddenly, and he stood up.
And you remember that's the thing I said, where the board kind of slacked too much on that transfer. Imagine if he had played against Antalyaspor.
Yep.
I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that he could have made a save on that first goal.
Yeah,
that went through
all
legs.
of them. Jeez, I don't even want to.
Yeah.
Okay, let's not even. Let's not. What's the expression about spilled milk? I think it applies, but. Anyway, but that's a good highlight for sure. Karius.
That's my highlight, Loris Karius, who continues to inspire confidence.
Okay. Well, I was so positive that you were going to pick Ljajic that I had already set up a backup.
I was going to leave. I left him for you because he was just,
He was amazing. Okay. I mean, since you didn't pick him, I've got to. Before then, I want to just reveal who the guys who I was gonna say were, just because I thought they were good picks.
Oh, so it wasn't Karius?
No, it was actually I was gonna say Enzo Rocco probably deserved some praise.
Yeah.
But actually, I was gonna pick a total out of left field, like literally. I was going to say John Erkin played very admirably, not even just in the second half when kind of the whole team was, but even in the first half, he was keeping it together, made some vital tackles that I think, the kind of play that goes under the radar. I always say we got to give the defenders some credit because that it's easy to not pay that much attention to what they're doing out there. But yeah, I thought. But anyway, with that said, of course, if I have the choice here, I'm gonna go with Adem Ljajic, who was phenomenal, and he has. I have to say, like in 2 matches now, with minimal experience with the squad, training with the squad, all of that. Yeah. He has been exactly what we could have ever hoped for. And in fact, even more so, because I secretly in the back of my mind, there's this, but yeah, my spidey sense was tingling there. Just because I had this incredible fear that maybe he was a little bit more in the Talisca mode. Because, the highlight reels show these shots from long distance. And I was like, oh, gosh. But in fact, it's been quite the opposite. We haven't even seen much of that at all. What we have seen is a lot of really nice little touches on the ball. He has, and he
speeds up the team.
Yeah, in the Yanni Malatya match, when it looked like people literally didn't have any interest in getting forward and scoring, he was still putting these passes on that kind of forced people into action. Like Lenz and Quaresma both had these chances that they almost seemed resistant to being given, but it was just too, Ljajic set the table too well for them.
Yeah. And you know what? With the thing that I'm kind of dreading a little bit, when Quaresma comes back into the team, he claims the ball so much, and it's almost like an automatic thing that the players give him the ball. And I think Ljajic needs to be that guy. Yeah. He needs to be the first passing station for Medel, for the guy, for the defenders. He needs to be the guy that gets that ball in midfield, and it doesn't need to go straight away to and that's kind of why I was happy and excited to see the lineup that we started with Lenz and Gökhan Töre. Yeah. It wasn't so much just to see Töre and Lenz, but it was really for me, that Quaresma didn't start, and giving Ljajic no dig on Quaresma, but I wanted to see Ljajic as the de facto patron in midfield, patron, whatever, maestro, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. I wanted to see him in that central role, and I think we saw him there today. And from what I gathered, from what I saw myself against Yanni Malatya, and from what I gathered, he was already quite impressive. He had some really good moments against Yanni Malatya, but I think that was still a game that was largely, largely Quaresma getting the ball and claiming the ball, and that's going to happen because of course he has tenure. He gets his assist every game, so it's normal. But I think the more Ljajic settles in, the longer he's with the team, the more he's going to speak up, the more other players are going to be just automatically going to give him the ball. The longer he plays with these players, he's only going to get better in the sense that the other players around him are going to get to know him better.
For sure.
And they're going to give him, like I said, they're going to give him the ball quicker. And I think that's what you need to do with this guy. You just need to give him the ball. Yeah, I don't think there was a single time in this match where he didn't do something dangerous when he had the ball. It was always threatening, and it just speeds up how we play, quick combinations, looking for the triangle combinations with other players, and just those quick one-touch plays that he played with Töre in the first half, with Ozhan, even with Larin. I think we're definitely going to see a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun with his guy. It's the first number 10 that I've been really excited about since Matias Delgado, probably, who I liked a lot, but never really did what we all expected. I think.
Just if there are any other Knicks fans out there like myself, I just want to apologize for Kaan. The word triangle has a triggering effect on some of us. We just went through trauma with this triangle offense whole crisis, whatever. I don't want to go into that. That's way off topic. But yeah, you're right. No, and I think he fits perfectly. If you heard me sighing in the background, by the way, that was Zagreb scoring. They're now winning 3-1, which is not good for our coefficient. But
4-1.
Oh my God, I'm behind. I'm still only on 3. God. Oh my God. Guess like bad to worse. Okay, whatever. I don't care. Fener's embarrassing themselves on an international stage. That's their problem. I'm not even gonna worry about
You
it.
know what? If they're gonna lose, they might as well lose big.
Might as well
At
go
least
all
then
the
we can
way.
have a laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
But of course,
I hope. In fact, I hope they
these
get
ba-
scored on like at Liverpool level, so they can stop with that. Anyway, because how much worse would it be if they did that to Dinamo Zagreb? And that's what it's looking like. Let's move on though. Lowlights. I think you're gonna go Laren, and if that's the case, we probably don't need to say too much.
I think I've crapped enough on that kid already. I'm not gonna do
All
it.
right, so I'll say
Oh my God.
my low light. I mean, I would have to go with Laren too. Yeah, there it is, 4-1. I would have to go with Laren, but for the sake of diversity, I'll spread it out a little. Who else was really poor today? Oh yeah, I mean Gökhan today. I was very unimpressed with him in that first half. But you know what? More so, the guy who stands out to me, because yes, Gökhan today was bad, but again, like that was really his first. That was definitely his first start in competitive play for us, right?
Yeah, I think it was his first
And
start.
even if not so, like it's one of his first few performances of the season at all, especially with like extended playing time. So I'm gonna give him the pass on that, and I don't want to come across as a Gökhan Töre hater. Like I don't hate him at all. I want the best for him. He's a Beşiktaş kid as far as I'm concerned, and like if he signs an extension at a reasonable rate and stays committed to the project, what the hell? I have no problem with him at all. But he was pretty bad. But I'm actually going to say that even worse to me was Tolgay Arslan. And I think that's the type of thing that can go under the radar because he only played for like 15 minutes at the end, but he was so bad. And it was to the point
yeah, you
where
didn't
it
like
became-
him against Malatya either, I think.
Yeah,
right?
I did not, but he was comically bad today. Like to the extent where like the ball was going out of bounds and he touched it when he didn't need to and put it out. Like it was like every time he touched the ball, it was like poorly timed. He was clodding, fouling players left and right, like unnecessarily. Honestly, like the whole thing was sort of, yeah. Tolgay Arslan for me had a very comically bad 15 to 20 minutes in this match that really solidified for me how much I don't want to see him play. And Ozan, I actually want to say, he was a bit of a ghost as he's been, but he was a good ghost. I made a joke, and he was like a Casper the ghost, the kind of ghost you don't mind having around, because he was distributing the ball well when he got the chance to. Like his little touches were nice. He wasn't overexerting himself, but I mentioned this in the last podcast when I was soloing it. It's kind of good when he's ghosting a little in a non-negative way, because you want him to exert himself. He's the guy who can fly under the radar and then come out with something spectacular. I kind of made a Carlos Valderrama comp.
Yeah.
But and of course not in terms of flair and stylistically, but in terms of effect, where he can really. I think he's at best when he comes out of nowhere, when you don't see it coming.
I think Ozan's the type of player, he needs to get plenty of touches on the ball, but you don't want. I don't think you want to rely on Ozan to give you the assist.
Yeah.
I think he needs to be the guy of the pre-assist.
Exactly. A good ghost. Ghost.
Yeah.
Casper the Ghost.
I think he can. I definitely think he can be more
for
present
sure.
in the game.
Absolutely.
But I thought he was good.
I'd be
today.
willing to
Well,
bet his
at
passing
least
rate his percentage was quite high today. I'm not sure, but
I still think that putting him next to Atiba or an Atiba type
sure.
is going to get allow him to play even better.
This is
I'm still.
This is a perfect
go ahead,
segue into. I don't think there's much more to say about this match.
Well, I still have my low lights.
Oh, I thought you said it was Laren and you didn't even want to say anything.
Oh no, I didn't want to harp more on the kid.
Okay.
No, I actually I'm gonna make a controversial. I'm gonna have a hot take.
Ooh, let's hear it.
And I'm gonna. For me, and it's gonna be controversial because I think a lot of people liked his performance today, and it's not that I didn't like his performance. I know his intensity and his commitment and all that, but for me, Gary Medell in midfield.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one actually. I see that.
Yeah, it's still not something that I'm 100% confident, comfortable with. I want to see Atiba in that midfield triangle with Oğuzhan, Laiç, and I want to see Atiba there. Medel, he's great, fantastic player. He has the intensity, that never give up, never die attitude, winning mentality, and we definitely need that in the team. But I don't know if midfield is really the position where we need that. I think that he's often a little bit too much of a liability in terms of getting a card there. Although I thought his card was maybe a little bit harsh, just like his 2 cards against Malatya were harsh.
Maybe there's like a match in a time where you need more of a motor like his. But yeah, I agree for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, he's my low point, but not because I didn't like how he played. Just I kind of want to see something else in midfield. I think we need to be a little bit more dominant, retain possession more. And I just think that Atiba is much more suited for that. I think that's all I really have to say about that.
But yeah, I don't think there's a lot more to say about this match. I think. It met our demands, and in the end, it was a rough half, but we got the result we needed. We're at the top of our group, which is what you want, and it's something. It was better that we had a good second half rather than a good first half, because at least now we're building towards like we can carry that form into our next match, which is, I think, what we need to talk about a little bit before we part ways with our loyal listeners, our fantastic followers, if you will. I think we have to briefly preview this coming match. We're playing Fener, as most of you probably already know, on Monday. It's been pushed back. The game is on at 2 p.m. here in New York City, Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. for you, Kaan, 9 p.m. in Turkey, or in Istanbul.
Yeah. You should probably lead with the local time instead of with the New York time.
Well, hey, actually, the majority of our listeners are in the U.S., Kaan. I hate to burst your bubble. So
it's only like 50%.
Yeah, we're killing it.
Just high.
But anyhow, we're giving it our local flavor, But so, regardless, I think. What do you have any thoughts going in? I mean, I think the preeminent question has to be, we're not going to have Gary Medel in as a defensive midfielder. The only real question, I think, tactically, perhaps, we could say who's going to start on the wings, but we kind of know the answer, given rotations and all.
Quaresma will definitely start.
And probably Babel, given his
And
form.
Babel will start, that's for sure. I think, and then Tolgay will start instead of Medel. I'm 100%, I'm not 100%, like 99% sure that's going to be the way. I don't think he's going to start Atiba. Well, I think he should, but I don't think he will. Maybe it's a little bit risky to start him, his first start in an official game. His first appearance, I think, in an official game, because he only played against Altinor.
Exactly.
To make it immediately into a derby, maybe a little bit risky, but it's a risk I would take. I don't think Tolgay is playing well enough at the moment to.
And he's like our most tenured player at this stage, right? So
yeah.
If anyone could slide in, maybe.
The referee for the match is Firat Aydınus, so it was, you just knew it was going to be either Ali Palabıyık or Firat Aydınus, and given that Palabıyık already officiated Fenerbahçe's game against Konya this past weekend, it wasn't going to be him, so you knew it was going to be Firat Aydınus, and lo and behold, it's Firat Aydınus, and I think you want to know an interesting statistic. Firat Aydınus made more home match appearances for Fenerbahçe last season than Robin van Persie did.
That's so funny. That's such a funny
and not just the entire season, just the first half of the season. So I'm not even counting the second half of the season when Van Persie was gone. Wait, or am I talking 2 seasons ago? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway,
either way, it's
like
a good
it's like they're it's like he lives next to the stadium and it's their go-to home ref, and he's always so lenient for them. Remember that match where Emenike took off his shirt, threw it on the floor, and walked off the pitch, and he didn't even give him a yellow card, not one, let alone 2, which he should have basically given him. theoretically. But yeah.
Remember when Cenk Tosun got a red card and got off the match for doing exactly the same thing in a national team match?
It's
Interesting.
just for me, if, giving that game to Idunus, it's just another, it's just another sign that it's going to be a screw job, and it has been the last, and I don't want to be that guy, but honestly, just look at the facts. Last season we played 2 games in Kadikoy. We had 2 clean goals disallowed for offside. Then the whole shenanigans with their fans, basically stopping the match 20 billion times, assaulting our coach, and then them getting a forfeit win and all that crap. And, just in the league game where they got the super soft penalty, remember that Medel with the Janssen position where they got a soft penalty, then we equalize and they disallow it for an unexistent offside. And also the fact that there's VAR now, it doesn't give me any confidence, because as we have clearly seen in the last couple
it doesn't function.
VAR only is still very much up to the whim of the referee. If he wants to, if they decide they want to look at something, okay, but otherwise no. The penalties against Antalyaspor, the yellows, Medel's red card not even getting reviewed, that kind of crap, and so far VAR has only been against us, and lo and behold, Fenerbahce have the 3 points,
benefiting greatly from it.
One of their 2 games they won, 3 of their 6 points came due to VAR in the first in the first game. So I don't want to, but I don't have any hope for that game. Honestly, I don't think we're gonna be allowed to win.
I joked it's gonna be 14-11 if you include the refs.
And it's been since 2005 since we won there, but honestly, it's most of the time it's just because you're just not allowed to.
Yeah,
and
I mean, but so just looking at Fener's roster, though,
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
I just want to see now, based on this match, how many of the guys are they playing right now against Dinamo Zagreb that they would theoretically play against us? Harun Tekin, obviously fine, but
Elif Elmas, they'll play. Shener, maybe, probably not. Probably gonna be
Shashue, no, right? He's not a starter anymore.
So I don't know. I think they're probably gonna have like
Diego Reyes, maybe. Shener.
Neustadt probably. They're probably gonna have 3 or 4 players that are playing right now that are gonna play. Oh, it's 5-1. Oh no, it's not. Sorry, no, it's not. No.
They're not going to play Ismail Koibash, obviously.
No, that's it. I think this is literally his first minutes this season or something. So, no, I don't. It doesn't really matter who they're gonna play.
Well, so my point here is they're actually, I think, only playing 3 or 4 outfield players that they would be playing regularly. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at, is that they're. I mean, on the flip side, they're losing 4-1 now. They could probably lose even more by the end of this match. I mean, that's going to have some mental impact, especially given that it's Harun Tekin in the goal. That could be fun for us.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, there's too many players that aren't going to be playing on Monday. I think they'll be very focused on that game. They have to win. If they
they're fighting for their season already.
If they lose that game, their season is over. If they draw, they're kind of in a shit position anyway. They have to win. I'm sure that's going to be the message going into the game as well for the officials, that they have to win. It's just the way Turkish football works. Unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I think we try to keep that kind of stuff away from it, but just going by the last couple of seasons, the way it's gone, and not even the last couple of seasons, it's been a repeating point throughout the 20 years I've been watching Turkish football. It's most of the time it's just just let these two I don't know. If we lose that game, but the ref doesn't have anything to do with it, I'll after the match I'll say, look, they were the better team, they deserved it, whatever. But if they score another offside goal, if they get another BS penalty, if we get another disallowed goal that was clearly onside, that kind of stuff, then I'm just gonna say it, and that's probably how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and just to give background, Fener is in 11th place now with only 6 points in 5 matches. So yeah, they really are scrambling.
They need to
If
win.
they come out,
But I don't even think they're that bad, you know. If they take the lead, I think they're going to win because they have good players on paper. I just think they need a confidence boost. A win against us could set off their season, or set up their season rather. This is going to be a very important game for us. They're going to be extremely highly motivated for this. I hope we can match their level of intensity in terms of motivation. I hope it's not going to turn into another red card fest or something like that. I hope Quaresma doesn't take another stupid red or
I almost
something.
wish they could just give him
But fortunately, you know, they don't have Sousa anymore to start
Rile us up.
stuff up. So I don't know. I hope it's going to be a fair game and that the best team is going to win. You know, let the right team win. If it's Fenerbahce, if they're better than us on the day, I'll congratulate them. As long as it's not going to be another, you know, controversial BS game like it's been for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Remember
Well, I
that
think
3-2? Remember that 3-2 a couple of years ago when we won our first title, and when they were crying about a little push.
Yeah.
Like they should seriously go through the types of derbies we go through with all the BS that happens.
3-2. Who scored?
Yeah.
There's a beautiful goal. Was that a Yusuf Shimshek goal?
No,
on the
I'm talking
side?
about the one a couple of years ago with Channel, when Mario Gomez scored twice, I think.
Oh yeah. You
Yeah.
those are the kinds of moments we want to be thinking about going into Monday's match, or maybe not. I don't know. You seem pretty down.
It's just because I don't want to get my hopes up because I know. It's always gonna turn. If you allow, you know, if you have expectations going into these types of games and you are hoping for the best, you know, after last season, what happened last season, that to me that was the biggest disillusion in football I have had since the whole Jem Papila thing,
Yeah,
and I
me
think
too.
that's saying something.
Yeah,
I was literally on the brink.
Yeah.
I was on the brink of never watching Turkish football again after that. You know, so for me, when it comes to Fenerbahce, they're a complete smudge on my football watching, you know,
Experience.
in Turkey at least, you know.
Yeah, I'm with you on that 100%. I've actually felt that way for some time. You know, Aziz Yildirim to me represents like not just Fener. You know, he represents to me the type of people in sports, but also in life. You know, this is why you can't have nice things type of people. You know, the kind of greed and just utter lack of concern for the rules and for the kind of the game itself, you know, respect for the game, more just all about you and winning and money, you know, and like,
Yeah,
I think he
problem-
typifies like a lot of what's wrong in the world to me, honestly. Like, at least he's come to represent a lot of those negative things over the years.
They're putting on Slimani in minute 79 when they're trailing 4-1.
Yeah, that's gonna save them.
Take
Take us out, Kaan. But before you take us out, I want to remind
Yeah.
you, say a few words about our After the Beep, because I think we've got
Yeah.
a nice one today.
We have really good after the beep stuff today. Emre, Hastürk, who was at the stadium for us again today, he managed to speak to some Sarpsborg fans, which is going to be great.
And he got kicked out of the stadium, which I'm going to include that. I have to, don't I?
So he basically managed to speak to Sarpsborg's fans during the break, had a nice chat, and he wanted to go back to speak to them up to at the end of the game. And those Sarpsborg fans were like mixed in with the season ticket holders or something, but apparently the police thought he was going to start a fight and they threw him out. So he actually missed the Sarpsborg goal. But so Emre got us some great reactions, and you know, one of those guys from Sarpsborg, he knew what was going to happen. He predicted it almost.
Don't give
yeah,
it
he called
no
it for
spoilers,
sure.
but that's fine.
No spoilers.
But I also want to say how funny it is, because Emre, like, he's one of the nicest, most like well-meaning people that I've, you know, in the Beşiktaş Twitter community I've known. So the idea of like the police protecting these Norwegian fans from him is so ridiculous but funny to me at the same time.
Yeah, it's really, you know, it's a shame because Emre was gonna show these guys Istanbul after the
he's
game. He
gonna
was
go to
gonna
hookah
show them a
lounge.
good time. I hope that he still manages to get hold of those guys so we can, show them some Turkish hospitality. But we also got a submission from Ben Wells.
Yeah, the return.
The football radar analyst who I spoke to ahead of this game, analyzing Sarpsborg. He gives his take on the match. I think a lot of the stuff that he had to say going into the game came out true. I think Rashid Mohammed, the prime example of that. So definitely worth listen there. And I don't know if there's going to be any more submissions before this comes out, but definitely stay tuned and listen to our hashtag after the beep.
Yeah, for sure, dude. So yeah, send us out on that, Kaan. Like, what? There's no more to say. I think it's a good day for us, and hopefully we'll come back with even better news.
Yeah,
on Monday.
Fingers crossed, everyone, that we get a fair game on Monday and that we get a good result. But don't get your hopes up. That's it.
That's it.
Send us out, Sinan.
Go Beşiktaş! I mean, come on, yeah, we have 3 points. We're leading our group in the Europa League. Fener cannot say that. They will not be able to say that. Very much so. They're going to be like digging out.
Maybe they're just fielding their B team now because of it being just before a big game.
They're afraid, Kaan. They're afraid of us.
It's important for us, but it's so much more important for them. You have to keep in mind, if they lose that game, that's 4 losses for 6.
Yeah, it was an interesting performance from Sarpsborg, I thought. The first half especially, I thought they matched Beşiktaş. I'm not too sure whether they underestimated Sarpsborg or it was just a bit of a relaxed performance from them, given sort of some form of late. But I think Sarpsborg did really well to exploit that. They controlled the game well in the first half and probably had the better of the chances of the two teams. So yeah, going into the second half, I did think to myself that there could be opportunity for Sarpsborg to maybe nick a goal on a counter attack, take a goal lead, but obviously it wasn't to be in the end. The introduction of Ryan Babel really changed things for Beşiktaş. I think when he came on, they just looked a completely different beast. Going forward on the counter attacks, there's constantly sort of 4v3 situations in Beşiktaş's favour, and obviously the early goal in the second half really helped them to settle in. And I think ever since that Ryan Babel goal, Sarpsborg struggled to sort of control the game. Beşiktaş had their foot on the pedal. They just looked like the side that Sarpsborg probably expected them to be pre-match. It was interesting though, because Sarpsborg did get a couple of good opportunities in that second half too. Rashad Mohammed, who is a very interesting striker actually. He's a French player from a PSG academy, but never really made it there. He's since come to Norway, played second division football, third division football, and now he's playing in the elite series with Sarpsborg. And he had a couple of wonderful chances I think it was 2-0 at the time, so it would have been to make it 2-1, maybe 1-1 at one of the chances as well. But yeah, he's a player known for his ridiculous pace. He's so fast. I think I mentioned in a podcast pre-match actually that he was one to look out for Sarpsborg. So he's very good at getting behind the defences. He really troubles defenders, as Beşiktaş did in the second half. They struggled to contain him. But when it just comes to that finish, he does struggle to get the goals. He's only scored 2 goals this season in Europe and the league. So that's sort of testament to his poor finishing abilities, I guess. But he is still an important player for Sarpsborg, and I think in general, he did have a good game. He opened up space for other players. He was good on the counter for Sarpsborg. And yeah, in general, I think there's a lot to take from the game for Sarpsborg. They obviously went in as underdogs. They weren't expected to win. So the result's no surprise. But I do think after that first half display and after chances in the second half, they will be probably a little bit disappointed to have lost 3-1. I think the game was a lot closer than a 3-1 scoreline. Obviously, it was 3-0 until the very last second of the game when Sarpsborg scored. So I think that goal would have given them a little boost going into the rest of the group. But yeah, Beşiktaş definitely switched it on in the second half, and yeah, they were much better side there.
Hey guys, it's the first half 0-0. I have the Sarpsborg fans with me right here in Vodafone Arena. Let's see how their thoughts are.
I think we're good.
Good?
Yeah, I think we are outrun the team, and we are some lucky with some challenges, but overall we deserve to lead at the halftime.
So how do you think this will end?
You're gonna win by 2 goals because we're gonna get tired, and you're gonna score 2 goals. One in around 50 minutes in the second half, and then in the last 10, I think.
What do you think about the atmosphere?
Best I've ever been to. Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay, thanks guys, enjoy. Hey guys, just got escorted out of the stadium with the police. I wanted to talk to our Norwegian friends again, but apparently they thought something else. The police thought that we were gonna have a fight or whatever. Although the whole game they were pretty much right between us, like in the stadium. They were so close, and we had a nice chat during the halftime as well. Anyways, last minute, I got escorted out, which is funny. Anyways, it was 3-0 when I left. I don't know. I heard some noises afterwards in the 92nd minute or whatever. I don't know what happened, but hey, we won. Not bad of an atmosphere at the end. We're getting ready for the Fener game. Good start to the Europa League. I'm happy, and I was really surprised to see the Norwegian fans in between us with the season ticket holders, but it did make us feel, good about the game, and having to talk with them during the halftime. It was nice. It was nice. Great game. Great atmosphere. At least better than the past few weeks. So I'm really happy about it. Let's keep it up. Have fun, guys. Cheers. Well, I just heard that we conceded. Whatever. Win is a win. Have fun.
Beşiktaş International hopes you enjoyed this program.